You're listening to Vince and Matt on the Montreal Marketeers podcast. On this week's episode, we're storytelling with Jonathan Dresner, basketball enthusiast, Concordia University alumni, and Restopreneur. John, to start off the episode, give the audience a 2-minute review of who you are and what you're all about.
I'm a guy who's just taking it one day at a time, not much of a plan, enjoying life, trying to be creative, work with a team that I consider my family, and we'll actually get more into it as we talk about why I'm saying a guy without like an actual plan. But that's it. I just found myself somehow in the restaurant world, and I'm using my, I guess, the skills that I have and the passion I have in food.
Okay, very cool.
So right now we're at Notre Boeuf De Grâce, which is one of the restaurants you've opened.
Yeah, we're in the original location.
The original.
The first.
The first.
Yeah, in NDG.
In NDG.
Yeah.
I guess that's where you got your name from a bit.
Here we are in the basement.
It's where all the action happens.
We're in the dungeon office talking. Yeah.
Is there any reason in particular why you decided to start the first location in NDG?
There wasn't a reason in NDG. I happened to be living in NDG, and being in food already, and I was like in food in a few different ways. I just started finding burgers, were fun, and I was seeing, first of all, I lived in Florida for a year, for this 1 year that I actually was in between, kind of like going in a different direction. I wasn't in food. I was actually in the car business in Florida for 1 year, but I couldn't get my papers to I couldn't work it out to stay. And I just saw some fun burgers, like you see Shake Shacks doing well, but then you go to these burger.
Where in Florida, by the way?
I was in Sunny Isles. So I was in Miami a lot, and then the car lot that I was working with my friend was in Fort Lauderdale. And there's places like Rock Burger and the Tub and just different kinds of places.
Burger Wi-Fi is in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, now
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's blowing up, and then because when I came back from Florida, then I opened up with 2 friends. I invested in this Cupford and Kim business, which is vegan, gluten-free, organic, eco-friendly, like that type of thing. And then in Toronto, there was even a place like Burger Priest, which they were doing it more fast food, kind of like a Five Guys. And it's just I just started to see these things, and I thought they were good. I thought they were fun. When I came back to Montreal, I thought there was a lack of it. Five Guys would open, they'd still do well, but there wasn't a place in my mind that was sort of doing quality, freshly ground, fun environment with alcohol, family. You could come if you're old, young, cool, date, middle-aged, business. Everybody could come in the neighborhood. It didn't exist that much of Montreal, and especially not in this whole area. NDG, Côte Saint-Luc, Westmount, Hampstead, this whole neighborhood. I didn't know where the closest place was that was something I was envisioning. So this location became available, and that's when we thought, could do this here.
And you guys, you obviously offer a high quality product. You're talking about freshly ground. Interesting story. First time I heard about you guys, I was very jealous of my fiancée and soon-to-be wife. She told me, I'm trying out this place in Couverture, which is one of your other locations. She's like, and they serve pink burgers. And I've been waiting for years and years to have this burger. I really got into, raw meat, and whether it's tartare and all that. Yeah. And she went without me because she was with her friends. I was like, I can't wait to go there. And the very next week we went. And, it was interesting because you're serving a high-end burger, but really it's still very affordable. It's a quality food, but really anybody can enjoy this type of stuff. Yeah. And it's that, from my understanding, you also cut your potatoes, everything is fresh.
Fries are house cut, the sauces are homemade, everything except for, let's say, ketchup, mustard, relish.
Okay.
Mayo, we're making everything here. Fries are house cut. We even make our own sodas. So you have a Coke, ginger ale, whatever, a root beer. We make the sodas.
It's cool to see because I also see a big community aspect in what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Your burger of the month, I believe.
Yeah.
There's the Calvillo burger.
That's how the name came to be. I mean, when I was opening this location, I was thinking, how can I, what I admire and what you always want to be, you see you always hear a lot of restaurants open up and they close within a year. And then of those that survive, like 10% of them are they close within the first 3 years. And like, so it's like, who makes it 25 years and 50 years and 15 years? Like, who makes it, right? So when you look at those places that made it, they really are landmarks. They're institutions. They became part of like the Montreal community, or whether they're like out in the Ahuntsic community or the West Island, and they're just like established. They're like Moish's has made it forever, and Snowden Deli, and Schwartz's, and it's like, how do you become these places? And when you go into these places, you'll see like pictures on the wall of like back in the day or the neighborhood, and like, so when I was opening here, I kept saying, I want to open up this place, and from the beginning, I want people to come in. I've been open a week, a day, a month, and I want them to have this for some reason, the feeling that this place is an institution.
Nice.
Right? Like, you create the feeling that you've been there forever.
The atmosphere.
So I was starting that right away, a little bit in the design and with the name. I was like, what do I call it? And I was just like driving around, I was talking to myself, talking to my girlfriend, and just saying like, what could it be? What could it be? And I was just playing with like, I was thinking just, what does NDG do? You know, there's parks, there's families, there's like graffiti in a lot of places. And then I was like, the name, Notre Boeuf De Grâce, Notre Dame, Our Lady of Grace. And then I just said, hey, we're grinding fresh beef. The beef is going to be what we do, with quality beef, you know? And then I just said, you know what? And then it just hit me, Notre Boeuf De Grâce. So not only are we literally telling you that our beef is of grace, like it's like this holy beef, but it's also literally the name of the town. So we just, and then if you go back outside, you look, you see across the street, there's the old Canada Post building, or is a post office, and it says Notre Dame de Grâce.
Big letters.
Our sign is exactly, literally, I told the guy, make that sign, but switch down for Boeuf. It's the same like gray cement background, and then in black, it's like it's the same font, it's the same, like, you'll see it's the same sign. So and then on the wall, you know, we have a lot of brick and barnwood, which is sort of like the feeling of like older and rustic, and it is original. It's original floors, and there were ceilings from like way back. Like the place before us had put like a drop ceiling, you know, a suspended ceiling. So we took it off and we just left the old. We brushed it up, we painted it, and we put pictures, old black and white pictures that I found from like 100 years ago, 150 years ago. Of the area, even of this place in like I forget, like 1923 or something, and you see, so just people to come in and you just hit up this feeling that like this place has been here forever. Yeah,
but it shows that as much effort as you put in the food, you also put in the atmosphere. You're really trying to create an environment. For those that don't know, there's not only one location, right?
Yeah,
you guys have 3 locations.
Now we have 3.
And you, from the inside as well, it's not just a repeat every single location, same decoration.
No,
there is a unique vibe to.
Yeah, you want to. It's funny because I see places that copy other places, and I don't even copy my own place.
Exactly.
I'm opening my own second and third. I go into a new area and I say like, how am I again gonna make this place feel a little bit like people come in who live here, who work here? They're gonna be your most regular customers, right? How do I open this place and make people come in and be like, oh yeah, this is our hood. This restaurant is our neighborhood restaurant. You want to become, if possible, that one restaurant that's our restaurant. Like whoever lives in Ville-Saint-Laurent says this is our place, and your team works with the community. Like you work with like whatever the church, the schools, the soccer clubs. Like you're open. You work with the city council. We're open. We'll always do things with them. We'll always give gift cards for like fundraisers. So they come and people have meetings there. They come with their family.
And you went against because you mentioned the old, I want to call them old school restaurant, Moish's and so forth. Yeah. They've been doing the same thing for many years. The formula worked back then. They kept it the same. You went kind of against the grain. There's not many people doing what you were doing. Were you afraid? Were you, at first you were saying, am I on the right track here? Or did you have a feeling, that gut feeling that this is going to work because no one's doing it?
But nobody's doing what?
Which you're providing that mixture of saying, I'm going to have funky cocktails, especially I've been to the one at Côte Vertu quite a few times. So I find it's just fun. At home, I make burgers with an egg on top. I put pancetta. Yeah. I have fun. And I'm like, here I am in a restaurant. I can almost feel like it's my burger.
Yeah.
And I'm making my own.
Create your own, yeah.
That's it, environment. And I just find at Moishes and these bigger restaurants and so forth, they have a brand to maintain, and every store has to be the same.
Yeah.
Did you feel like I'm going against that? What it's been taught at Concordia, what's been taught at all the schools?
We do keep like a consistency store to store with food. But we do different stuff in like design and things like that. But I think we're following like the most important things for anybody opening a restaurant is obviously, the quality of the food is like the number one, right? Like if the product is good, you could almost maybe get away with failing in a lot of other areas if the product is that good. But then, I mean, like you have to have the service, the ambiance, and the cleanliness. So if you have those things and you're always delivering with consistency, so customers want to feel safe when they come. You're not, it's not just you're paying for it, it's like what's our most valuable thing is time. Like, if you just wasted like 2 hours and a get together and a social, and then you go and you're just eating bad food, you just ruin like your valuable experience. And it's like, you don't want to take that risk of going somewhere that, oh, it's so awesome, but 1 out of 3 times they mess up and it's like terrible.
It's interesting what you didn't mention location.
What do you mean?
And then the meaning location of one of those key components. And a lot of restaurant
You're right,
owners.
I didn't.
And
location is very important, but it isn't. When some people say it's location,
yes, yeah.
and literally they repeat it 3 times as if that's all you need, I don't feel like that is the number one.
I agree, because now I find myself traveling farther. I live in Vaudreuil, and I'll go to Côte Vertu and have this burger.
Same thing here. Live in Laval.
It is a good location.
Yeah, no, it is,
right?
but it's just funny how it's changing.
It is important, but it isn't location like they all say. And if I could have like a corner spot, you'll see it over and over now. Like it used to be like these big places are like, you got to take that corner. It's right there between the biggest intersections, and they pay rent like you wouldn't even believe, and it's like that's all that mattered. And now there's all these places in Montreal we could think of that are just sort of like in the middle of the road, and like, even now that I'm growing in between, in Toronto we're building our 7th location, and we signed 2 here. With this Notre Boeuf De Grâce, I have 3. I'm looking for more. I opened a coffee shop, and I'm looking at more and more locations. As I'm looking, sometimes I like almost forget and I doubt myself, and then I'm talking to either an agent or one of my partners in Toronto, and we're just like, no, but is this location good enough? And then we say, look at this place and look at that place. Look at, like, if you look at places that, let's say, vegan that do well, like Au Vive, you know this place, right?
Yes.
They're on like Mount Royal. On Saint Laurent around Mount Royal.
I love their sauces, by the way.
The dressing?
No, they're
the
a great
sauce.
place. They're a really good business. Is it the best location in the world? Saint Laurent is filled with places that don't do well. What was so good about that?
Yeah, you see Louis signs everywhere.
They have a good product. Like I look at my friends L'Avenue that just opened their 2nd location, even their 1st location on Mount Royal. Is it the best location in the world? They're the ones with the lineups that go down the street. You know L'Avenue?
Yes.
And then now they open in St. Henry. They're on Notre Dame.
I didn't know they opened.
Yeah. It's not like on a corner or whatever. You look at. You ever hear of Ganadera?
No.
That I haven't heard of.
Go look at them they're on de Maisonneuve. They're west of Guy and maybe even 4th or Saint Mathieu. They're in the middle of nowhere. They're like, they don't even have a sign. They're next to a laundromat, but there are lineups. They're full all the time. And I didn't understand, and I went in there, and their product is amazing. Their service is good. Their product is good. It's funky, and it's affordable. It's insane. You should actually go there.
So build something great and people come to you. It's basically
yeah. Your product, your service, and the package that comes with it, right? Like it's like an experience. Like the second you walk in the door, people. How often people that go away on a trip? They live in their city, like us. They live in Montreal. They never find anybody. Like I'm talking like a girl or guy. They never find anybody. They go away for 1 week to an all-inclusive. How come they fall in love every time? Like, oh, I met this person. Why? That person, if they would have met them in Montreal in the middle of the winter, in class, they would have fallen in love? No. It's all the other emotions that are hitting them, and that's like psychology. I also studied psychology, by the way. I didn't mention that. After my business degree, I did psychology.
At Concordia, right? You're a Concordia alumni.
I did at Concordia. But it's not even because I studied it. I think it's just more something that we all realize. Like, why do you go away? And it's like you'll just meet somebody and fall in love. It's like, the weather is nice. You're in a good mood. You feel good. You're drinking. There's music. You're by the beach, and then you meet somebody, and then all the it is somebody you're getting along with, but it's the rest of your emotions that are making you feel good, and you're interpreting as that person. So the product is even better than the product would be in a better environment where your emotions are all good. So if you walk into a restaurant and it smells good, looks good, the music is like fun, and then you're with people and now you're in a great mood, and then the product comes, the product's still got to be good, but it's going to be enhanced with the rest of the package.
Because it's the experience.
It's a whole
whether
experience,
it's just the food or just the night you're gonna have.
Yeah.
And I find it's very interesting because a lot of first dates or dates in general at the beginning, it's a lot of restaurants, because you want that whole environment. You want the person to be enjoying themselves, and if you can bring that, to me that's.
And on that note,
I remember why I used to spend a lot on restaurants when I was first dating Amanda. We used to go everywhere. Then that's because we always used to have fun there.
Although if I was giving girl advice, I always say never go to a restaurant on a first date.
How come?
Because I don't think girls want to eat in front of you while on a first date. It may be like you go on a couple of dates and then you start to feel comfortable and then you go for food. But I always tell friends, I'm like, why are you going for food? Like I made that mistake once or twice. I mean, I don't even want to eat in front of somebody that it's like the first time. Like you go for drinks.
Do you see any funny stories of you see new couples or first dates come into your restaurant? Any funny stories of that?
No, I don't notice.
You don't notice?
No, but I've just had friends tell me, and then they even agree, and they're like, yeah, you're right. What am I doing? And it is like awkward. It's like a.
I used to have a friend that used to always go for. He loves sushi. Go on a first date.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the
At least
worst food to eat. I find on a first date.
Yeah.
You're messing it up. You're breaking it. It's just
You're
a
supposed
mess.
to put the whole thing in your mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Chew like a pig.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're
It's
eating
all
20
bad.
pieces.
I mean, maybe you go for tapas in some way or something, but it's just you should just go for drinks. And if you're not a drinker, go for a tea or a coffee or movies and food to me are the worst first dates. I'm not saying it can be a third or but first dates, I think.
Have you been to the lab at all for drinks?
No,
Okay, you gotta check out the lab.
Where is it?
It's like a speakeasy, old school kind of.
It's in Montreal.
Cocktail place.
It's in Tiamat? No, not
no,
Tiamat.
not Tiamat. I think I want to say it's on Rachel Street, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It's an awesome. It's got it's an old school looking place. What I mean by that is everyone's dressed in suits. They make their cocktails, everything from scratch. Their mints, everything.
It's on Rachel.
And it's literally a lab. Like you go in, you don't say I want a gin and tonic. What do you feel like tasting today?
Oh yeah.
I feel like tasting watermelon. Okay, I got you covered.
Oh yeah.
It's
cool.
really cool. They craft it, and they teach how to bartend there. The bartenders always win the competitions.
Okay.
As well, so they're very talented.
Nice.
I want to also touch now because you mentioned, going out to restaurants with Amanda and so forth. People are sharing those experiences a lot more in the last few years than ever before, and I don't know if you want to go into this topic now or later or at all, but I know you've been engaged on social media before. You've kind of spoken back on behalf of the restaurant, whether someone leaves a negative comment, and I think you know which one I'm talking about.
Are you talking about the wrestler? Yeah.
Yes. I want to know if you want to talk about that.
I don't mind talking about it, of course.
All right, first. So how did that start? What happened?
Well, first of all, just in general, I do personally handle a lot of the social media. I like social media to be. I mean, it's my personal belief, from within. I don't like to do. I mean, you guys even asked me a bit before, traditional marketing. I find it's. I see where it's necessary for some of these places. You look at the Subways and the McDonald's, but even with big corporations, I'm more of an admirer of the Starbucks model. I think Howard Schultz is one of my favorite guys. He's the guy who started. Well, he cut long story, but he's the main guy from Starbucks. And have you ever seen a Starbucks billboard ad or a commercial or on TV? Or you haven't, right?
Yeah,
so they don't do that, and they sort of just put it within the customers. You let your customers advertise for you. You just put all your money and effort into there's a problem, fix it. It's on the house. Here's next time free, or just better staff, pay them a bit more. Treat them better, take them on out. You just put everything into giving the customer the experience that they will go and they'll come back and they'll tell people you got to go try this place, and it's contagious and it spreads. So you don't need to just put a big thing on a billboard. And for social media, a lot of companies, I'm not against if I had to pay somebody to do it if we really needed help, but I feel like as long as somehow it's not this big company, it becomes artificial. You're just blasting these pictures that look I don't know, too perfect or photoshopped, and then with a, like I wouldn't even put my name through the pictures. You want it to be your staff almost taking it, and then answering. I mean, like answer with, you know, like from the restaurant. Like it should be somebody writing back who can even say, yeah, you know, we spoke to the manager last night and we knew about that problem and sorry, we, you know, something's, it's got to be real.
Yeah, because a lot of people for social media, it's not just about pushing on to people. It's social, right? You got to interact. I think it's a very good point you make.
Who's gonna talk better about your business than you?
Yeah.
Like that's what
and now I'm just working like maybe too much and too all over the place. I mean, if it continues and I have 50 locations, I won't be able to sit there with my phone anymore. But I would make sure that it's a manager at the store or one of a district manager who checks over all 5 in this area. Like it still has to be real and from within somehow. Now, social media is crazy. There are people that, I mean, that could be a whole other podcast. I mean, like just servers in the industry and restaurant people talking about some of the abuse we take. I read some comments that people write, and for sure we make mistakes. And we make mistakes, and it's like, you know, I mean, I think when people make mistakes, I know that we're willing to fix them, or that we will say sorry, we'll make it up to you, because we screw up. I mean, we gave you the wrong item, or the guy overcooked it one day, or whatever. I mean, like, let us fix it. We're not this busy because we suck most of the time. We're this busy because we have regulars that come in and they just love us. They come in, they see my server who's a regular, and they'll give her like a kiss on the cheek, and they met from here, from being a customer waiter, you know, and like, so how do are we bad? I mean, like we kiss ass, we bend over backwards, and we put enthusiasm and passion, and we want everybody to leave happy. So, you know, but when you see people that just go right to like the public, because
like this wrestler,
time, yeah. So now, exactly, we're talking about the wrestler, but I just want to mention that we've never like attacked the customer. That even though a customer can attack us, we still do behave with, you know, responsibility. I don't want customers to feel unsafe. Like, oh, if we, you know, I don't agree with them going with one bad experience to like the public, because literally I have people that we get emails. And some people email us and write, hey, and they tell me nicely about their bad experience. We make up for it. And I thank them. I mean, literally, I don't want to waste time now. I'll show you after on my phone where we write back, and I thank you for choosing to email us about this. Come next time, we'd like to offer you something on the house, you know, like to make up for it. And they don't even complain about like, oh, it was all ruined. You know, they're right, like, I came with my husband, everything was great, but there was this one little thing. Thank you for not going and like writing it on that, like something sucked, you know? But they just wanted to, I thank them, we make it up to them, but then some people, bam, it's like, you know, as if we have this intention to, like, we rudely did something to them and they're attacking us in public.
One false move and it's 1 star, not 5 stars.
But now, but now the wrestler, I don't even know who this guy was. Now, but I know that we kill ourselves. I'm sitting there on a Thursday. I was in the restaurant all day. We only had this one location in NDG. We're in the community. Everybody loves us. We love our customers. It was a beautiful Thursday, beautiful day. The sun was out. Probably all my staff wish that they were sitting there having sangria or a beer or whatever, but they're working. And I know, because I just left the restaurant and we were working like like dogs, like bam, bam, bam. It was packed. And then I just get home. It's like 8 p.m. I sit on my couch and my phone starts going bam, 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 bam. Like, and I'm like, I didn't even understand, because Twitter on my phone, Twitter's the social media platform we use the least. Almost don't even use it. We use Instagram and Facebook tremendously, and almost don't use Twitter at all. But for the Notre Boeuf De Grâce Twitter, it was like making that noise, and it was like beeping like out of control. So I didn't understand, and I was opening it, like I couldn't even understand what's happening. And then then I started to like realize, like, oh, some guy posted, like I saw that he wrote something, but because he had like, you know, 500,000 followers or 1 million followers on Twitter, and he wrote this message saying that, oh, I just waited an hour for my food and then had to leave Notre Boeuf De Grâce without even eating. I mean, that sounds like you really got fucked by this place, like intentionally, like that we're just total losers of a business, right? Like, we let you leave without eating after you waited an hour. That's crazy. So my first thing is, oh shit, I left, and now for some reason they can't even handle the restaurant. So I see everybody's like responding to him like, bullshit, fuck that place, and all his, you know, because he's a wrestler, WWE, he has a certain kind of fan base that talks a lot of shit, and they're right, because WWE is all about like,
yes,
you know your role and smack down on you, and like it's almost like Anyway, so I call the restaurant thinking they're not even gonna answer because it's like, and Estefania, who's like my right hand, she's like the best. She's the best at running the floor and she's best with customers. She answers calmly, and I'm like, "Is everything okay?" "Yeah." "Well, did any customer have a bad? Like, can you handle it?" She's like, "No, we're full, and there's a line, but we're good." She's like, "We have 6 waiters on the floor. We have 2 busts. We have the cooks. Everybody's happy." I'm like, "Everybody? Did some guy leave it?" She's like, "Oh my God." She's like, "Yeah, this guy was here for 20 minutes. She tells me on the phone. She goes, "I swear to you, he was here for 20 minutes. His wife even looked embarrassed. People at the tables around were literally making faces at him, staring at him, and they were, and as soon as he stormed out, everybody, all the tables around were like, fuck that." No one even knew who he was. He's really a famous guy, but not in
this
a
community.
certain fan base.
Yeah.
I mean, he has fans all over the world and who like WWE, and he's huge in Montreal. But here, like, you know, these people that were sitting around, families, whatever, no one knew. We didn't even recognize him. I never even heard his name. I'm not into WWE. So, you know, so she's telling me like that the guy basically, they got their drinks and they were drinking them. And after like 15 minutes, he goes up and but I mean, it could take, when we're full with a lineup and it's just like pickup orders are waiting, it could take you in any restaurant like a half an hour to get food. You know, that's how long. We have a small kitchen, small place. We're 100 times busier than we ever imagined. So it's like, but it's Thursday. It's not lunchtime where you have to be back to work. You're sitting there on a day off, enjoying time with your wife. Everybody's enjoying life. So he wrote that he waited an hour. She said that she offered him the drinks on the house, and he said, "Oh yeah, like no shit," or something, like, you know. And the wife was like, "Honey," you know? So then she said, "The food is coming right now." She said, "The food is coming right now." Like literally, it was there. He says, "Forget it, I'm leaving," and he just stormed out. He just stormed out. So I said, "Oh my God, okay." So first of all, I looked at the cameras.
I went to security cameras
Yeah, I
to see
looked
what
at
was
the
going on, to
cameras.
see.
He was here for a half an hour. So 20 minutes from when he placed the food, like when he placed his order, his food took 20 minutes, was ready, but he had just walked out when he was told it was there. But he was, from when he walked in the door and I saw him to when he sat down, and this guy was sitting down, like not even engaged in conversation. It was like I was watching him. I'm like, of course it feels long. He's just sitting on his phone and his wife is just staring at him, you know. So I don't want this to, hopefully it doesn't like build back up again, because what he did, he actually did a bit of damage to us, because all his you know, fans were going on reviews and putting 1 star, and you look at who they were from like Japan, and they were from Texas, and they never been to our place. They're just like, oh, you know, they're like
It's
trash
just
talkers.
crazy the damage.
So
of,
he did a lot of damage, but
reviews, yeah.
But what I did, of course, any customer says anything, even if we're wrong and they're right, I'm gonna say sorry about the wait, and I'm gonna offer him to come back and apologize or whatever, even though it's like unrealistic to like. But I called up one of my best friends, Ariel Hawani, who also has 500,000 followers on, you know, Twitter and Instagram, and he's from Montreal, and I grew up with him, and he's like broadcaster of the year every year in UFC. I mean, he's like, anywhere I go with him, you see people taking pictures of him, autographs. So he's in the UFC world since like almost day one. He's huge, and he's a smart kid, you know, like he's really brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I just called him up and I said, "What do you think I should do?" And he's like, "Well, you know, you have 2 obvious options, right? One of them is to do what you always do. You just kiss everybody's ass and you say sorry and whatever." He says the other one is just to joke around. That's what it was intention. It wasn't to fight with him. It was like, let's make a joke. Like WWE talk smack. Like I remember The Rock.
And I let her comment.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, does he really think that we meant what we said? We wrote back. Ariel even like helped me. He's like, you know what? Because I don't even know wrestling. He's like, he has beef in wrestling. He said, real beef? It's WWE. They invent all the. They're probably friends.
Storytelling.
Yeah.
So he says his beef is with John Cena, and John Cena is much more famous than him. So he was like, say that, you know, I forget the exact words we used, but we're like, we're at John Cena fans. We didn't want your business anyway. I mean, is that not obvious? Is that not obvious a joke?
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
obvious,
sure.
right? He freaked out, and he wrote back like, you know, how dare you, and I'm a customer, and you treat us like this, and I mean, he took it like so serious, and I guess in a way he called out like, you know, people to like, you know, bash us, and he turned a lot of hate against us, but it didn't affect the actual business itself. The only way it could affect it is, I mean, like, there are a certain amount of people that look at reviews, and if they see that we're just keep getting 1 star, one after the other, and a lot of them even write something and lie, maybe we lost a bit. But we're strong in our community, in our relationships, and everybody who comes here knows that we serve them well and everything. But that's what happened. And then Ariel Hawani talked about it on a show, and then it went back and forth with him, and then maybe MTL Blog or MTL East, they put a story about it, and so it got a lot of press. People say all bad press is still good press. Not really true, but there is good. It does in one way put our name out there more. It makes people curious, but the truth is, any business like survives or dies based on, I believe, what they provide, So like you can read and see whatever you want. We could have a 1-star review on Google as an average, but people who would come here would be like, they wouldn't understand. Most places I go, do you even look?
I do look at times, but I take it on myself to say, okay, what do you guys offer? What's on the drink menu? When I take a look at your website, it looks legit. I love the website. I love what you're providing. And I'll try it out.
I mean, whether one person or another, but your girlfriend, your fiance, came, obviously other people sort of told her, they went as a group, then she told you came.
Exactly.
If you had a good experience, now you come. Maybe you told him and now you come, and then you're going to tell people,
and just to clarify, this is a bit, maybe me and you, Matt, a little more unique. We're foodies. There are a few people, and not to sound cocky or that I like higher end food or whatnot. That's not the case here, but I do trust only a selected few people who tell me, Vince, you've got to try this restaurant, because I know those individuals. I know their tastes very well, man included. So I'll try it. The views on the web, a lot of them will go eat at Scores every day. So I'm afraid to say this is really good or this is really bad, because what do they know, and not necessarily what they know as in if it's good or not, what do they know towards me?
And it's like people that write reviews, I hate vegetarian food. Let me go to a vegetarian restaurant. I hated it. What do you expect? Or the music is too loud, but that's the vibe of the place. And I feel like people
reading reviews, it literally, and talking about the food industry is a podcast on its own. It's like I don't know, even just yesterday we had a review. You can look it up. Somebody took off 1 or 2 stars and just said it gets too busy. It says it gets too busy and the place is too small. Mm-hmm. But they said food is amazing, quality service and ambiance amazing, but the place is too small and it gets too busy. This is what we are.
Exactly.
This is the place. The
place.
place.
But if you want to eat alone, you eat at home, play the music you want to play. I find sometimes the reviews are almost, no matter what, you weren't going to be happy anyways.
It's you shouldn't fault the place. You got to fault the place for the food wasn't good or the service wasn't good, but you can't take away a point because they play loud music, because that's what they do. Then another person is going to go to a place that has no music and take away and say it's too boring, there's no ambiance, they need to put music on. No, when you're in the mood for an ambiance and a music, you go to a place that plays music.
Exactly.
And it's a really, talking about service, it's a tough one when the customers are there and they come up to you and they say, can you lower the music, because it's giving me a headache and we can't talk easily. Like, maybe people have different sensitivities, right? But then you look around, you're like, everybody else, you see people in their chairs and like, they love the song, and people are like dancing here. We don't put on like heavy metal and like, untasteful rock. We put on like Jackson 5 and Motown and feel good music, and you see kids and adults and like, you see like old people just smiling and singing along and dancing, moving in their chair as they're eating or waiting and drinking. And then you have one person saying, can you turn it down, like almost off? You're like, that everybody else here is enjoying it. Like, it's a tough one because you don't want to say no, sorry. But I do feel for them, because what happens is sometimes I'm in my own restaurant all day. And then me and my girlfriend say, let's go out. We go to like an old school Greek restaurant. We sit outside. And I just feel like, this is nice. It's quiet. All day I had that like music, and like music is awesome, but it's also nice to just have quiet. So it just shows you, like, when you say, hey, we need to really go for this type, go for what you're feeling. And you don't go into a club, tell them to put it down. We're not a club. I'm just saying there's an ambiance here,
So now that you've expanded, you got more expansion for other restaurants you're affiliated to. Pigeon started. Since it's so important to focus on the quality, the brand, the service, and all that, I'm guessing it's become harder to, now that you have so many other locations, so many other branches, your day to day, do you focus a lot on making sure that all your restaurants are working well, or do you have certain people you trust that you leave it up to?
It does get harder and harder, but it'll get harder and harder if you don't figure out ways to keep giving off some of the things you do and delegate and trust. So obviously I do that because I wouldn't even have more than one location.
Exactly.
So but just with other things like I don't know, like a payroll or like going to pick things up and organize them, or answering reviews or doing social media, I'm like, I have to give up more and more. And I do go to the stores, but I'm constantly looking to open more. It does get harder, but it's all about team building. So that's what I've been good at, is getting a really good team and good people and trusting them to like make decisions. When they ask you what should you do, I'll answer, but usually I'll tell them first, like, do what you think is best. I still want to know what they decided to do, and then I'll give my advice, like, I think you should have done this instead. I mean, it could be like, remember we opened in Saint Laurent. They know ultimately that the number one thing is make the customer happy, and like, but sometimes something happens that's so small to a customer, and they didn't even really care. And then I find out that like we said, okay, don't worry, I took it off the bill, like the person's whole meal. I'm like, you know what? I don't think that was the best decision. I've never had that happen in a restaurant, but they were nervous that they wanted to show me that they were just like doing whatever for the customer.
Ready to please.
But I was saying like, I'm talking about, we'll take things off the bill when it's like something that deserves, but I'm talking about something like didn't really even happen. So like you feel like, a little bit of an inconvenience or something, just go and offer them something extra they weren't gonna have. Give them a drink, or give them a dessert or coffee at the end or something. Because the difference is now what you're doing is, it is costing you money, right? Because let's say you give them a beer.
Yeah.
It might cost you $2-3 to give them a beer. You paid for it. And maybe it saved them if they were going to order another one, you never know. But if you take off the bill,
you're just
literally losing like what you already had. Like it's nice enough, to just give them something extra. You're still paying for it. You're treating them, and it's a nice gesture. So I'll give my opinion after, but I'll still say, do what you think's best. And then, of course, you coach, and I'm not always right either, right? Like maybe they're doing something better than me.
So from what I've heard in the restaurant industry, staff retention is an issue for a lot of people. So from what you're saying now, it really is something that you focus on retaining your staff, building that family on.
It's one of the most important, and I actually believe, another thing is, like, I didn't mention the ultimate being location. I also don't think that, and this could be like a strong thing to say, so I say it like a little carefully, but it's like everybody always says, like, you'd think the most important thing is your customers, and in a way they are, but I think your staff are the most important. And it's like a very close, it's like I'm being careful how I say that. I don't want to,
because they treat your customers,
exactly.
You're unhappy,
they're an extension of yourself.
They're gonna feel off on that customer, and they're gonna feel
I'm almost saying that the reason why they're like, you know what it is, like, put it this way, of course if you're a mother, your kid is, your child is more important to you, but what's going to happen in a plane if it's going down? You put it on yourself first, right? Because if it's on yourself, the mask, you're going to be able to help your kid. If you put in your kid and then you pass out, your kid's finished, right? Like they always say, cover yourself and now you take care. It's the same thing, like you got to, like, it's your staff, that's your family, and then boom, they're going to take care of all your customers. But if you're focusing on your customers, like as if whatever, and like, and then you don't think as, right?
Yeah, I agree.
That's the difference. Like, so it's not to like,
well,
take it in the wrong
a
way.
staff's bad day could quickly become a customer's nightmare.
Yeah, if you treat your staff like they're number one and their family and like that, you just, like, why some restaurants are just, I'm really truly, like, I know this from just going around, from even having a lot of, almost everybody here has worked at another restaurant and then they came here. I have some kids that have given them their first job, a lot of them actually, but most people have come from working at 1, 2, 3, 10 different restaurants. And the stories you hear, it's like, wow, so really a lot of restaurants are just treating their staff like, I wouldn't say an enemy, just like, oh, the staff, they always want from me, they want more money, or they're stealing, or they're not working, and they treat them so much like there's a, like, they don't care, they just have to pay them and they're greedy, and that there's this clash. But it's like then about the customer, but the staff aren't going to be able to properly So then when we start treating our staff like the number one, and we're really, it's like, this is your house, this is your family, and we do activities and we treat them well, that's why I could step out. I mean, and like, they just treat customers like family too.
Did you read the Steve Jobs books and the Apple story? Because that, it's funny you mentioned it,
too long.
Yeah, because years ago that was kind of like the thing. He believed that you don't have to treat your staff very well, right?
Oh,
that was one of his ideologies.
From the movie, he was hard on them.
Yeah, very hard on them. And some people took that to a literal sense and said, well, I'm going to apply that in my business.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the restaurant, you can't. Any service, I'm not going to say restaurant, any service related industry, you got to be careful.
Anywhere you interact with a client, you don't want to make it a bad day for your staff. Well, the client.
You still got to select good people. I mean, like, if you have the wrong employee and you're treating them like gold, I mean, maybe they're still going to be terrible, but that just means you have the wrong person.
Exactly.
I mean, hire the right people, good people. But a lot of people hire good people and they just make them not care. You know, I mean, I've been there as a kid, working not in food. I didn't work in restaurants growing up, but I just worked in certain places where the owner or the manager was just so like, they just didn't, first of all, they didn't empower me. They didn't give me like I mean, clearly I was intelligent enough and creative enough to like kind of learn the place and then come up with ideas and stuff, but they would just treat me like an employee that didn't matter, and so then I cared less.
And so when we talk about, I know that you used to be a franchisee when you first started in the food business. Now with everything that's growing out, are you looking at becoming a franchisor? Are you? So,
I'm open to everything. That's like a good thing and a bad thing. Like, I'm always down for whatever. I always talk to somebody about anything. So, very open. So, first of all, for the Toronto concept, we currently are all corporate stores, but we are open. We just recently did do our like franchise documents, and we're ready to. But it really got to be careful with selecting the right people. You know, that's the key.
Same as the staff. Same idea.
I mean, really, but now you're taking someone who's going to own their store. I mean, it's like you can't just let them go that easily, and they can really damage your product more than I guess an employee can or even a manager. In Notre Boeuf De Grâce, I do have one franchisee, so the Ville Saint Laurent location is franchised, and now with Pigeon, I mean, with anything, I'm open. Like, a lot of these companies have a mix. I mean, you look at like Cheesecake Factory, and you'll look it up, and you'll see, they have 629 corporate stores and 850 franchisees. That's what they do, and sometimes they buy back stores or sell stores, and they have a corporate store they sell to a franchisee or vice versa. So you could do that. So I'm open to that. It's just if you find the right person, I'm open to it. I'm also open to partnerships. So if somebody wants to open a store out in West Island and they don't have enough money, but I got to feel like, we could work together, and I would partner with them and say, look, you can't afford to open your own store, and it's not cheap, but you have X amount of dollars and we can partner together. But it's like, you really got to trust the franchisee and a partner. I mean, big time.
Cool. So obviously right now, very successful, doing good. Was there any part of, once you start entering the food industry, restaurant business, what were the first kind of hardships you got through, and any advice to people that are trying to build a business, trying to do this?
I guess, I mean, it's hard no matter what, and it obviously helps to work in a restaurant. It obviously helps to spend time with, to learn as much as you can, for sure. But
be a sponge in the environment.
No matter what, even me, every time I open another place, it's like hell and back. You don't see it as a customer, you come in, but the two key girls I have with me in Notre Boeuf De Grâce are Yana and Estefania. I mean, customers that come, they know them, they see them. Those girls, all 3 locations we opened, each time have cried in the first 2-3 weeks. Each girl 2-3 times, and I never see them cry. Now it's fine. Like, I haven't seen them cry in I don't know, since we opened. Why would they cry? Occasionally something happens one day, and there's like I remember there was a girl crying here a month ago because a customer was so rude to her. She was calling her stupid, like things like that.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a whole. I'm telling you, restaurant talk is like something else. But like, the girls break down. It's just like, you can't even prepare enough. There's just like, and I talk to other people that have opened more restaurants than me, and they're like, yeah, every time you open a new location, it's insane. It's just insane. Everybody's new. You try to bring as much staff from your other locations, but you're training so many people that are going to be, because what's the point? I mean, you have to have new people there. If I take half my staff and say all half of you work here, and we never start letting the new people take over, when is that restaurant going to run on its own? So you have all these new people and you just have mistakes and you ran out and it gets slow, and then the customers, things break and things don't work and everything's new, and it's like, you know, if you open up and you're quiet, maybe no, but we keep opening up places that are like busy from out the gate, and it's just tough.
So what motivates you through the tough times where?
What gets you up in the
Yeah.
morning?
I would say like it's just adrenaline. That's why I started out saying like I'm a guy without really much of a plan. I would say I'm kind of just like coasting. Like I just coast, and people stop me. I mean, it's funny, but like even I'm with one girl, we're living together like 4 years. People are like, "Are you getting married?" You know, and then I'm just like, it's funny because she'll listen to the podcast and I don't want to hear the answer. No, but it's just like I'm coasting. I don't slap myself in my face and go, "What am I doing? I'm 37 now. Am I getting married? Am I aiming for a family? What am I doing?" And it's the same thing with restaurants. I meet these people that seem to be different than me that come up to me and they're like, either they talk to me because they want to invest, or they're doing their own thing, or they want to. They're trying to ask me if they can invest, right? And they're like, so what's the plan for next year? Like, how many locations do you want to open next year and over the next 5 years? And to me, I'm just like, what? I don't know. I don't care. If I open up none, or open up 1, or open up 10, I'm like, I never opened because it was in my plan. I've never done anything because my plan is to be here or to open this many. I don't have targets. I don't have goals. And maybe other entrepreneurs are going to tell you that's not good and you need targets. That could probably drive you, but I'm driven by just every day. Because I'm open-minded, what's my limit? You know, like, because I'm open-minded, I will look at any location and speak to any franchisee. But I guess if I was targeted, maybe I'd be putting ads out and being at every show and blasting, hey, looking for franchisee. Okay. But I'm living more to like enjoy my life and be creative and fulfilled, and it's all adrenaline. So like I get up and every day I think tomorrow I got to do this. And this person calls me, I got to run there or this. I go around, and then next thing I know, I get into a 4-hour conversation at one store where a guy I met is talking about some opportunity, and there my whole day. Now I'm going to bed at 2 a.m. like usual, because I'm catching up on my desk on all the emails, and every day's the same thing.
I want to touch back on one comment you made investment-wise. And you probably see a lot of projects because of your success as well. And you mentioned that you kind of helped others out. If someone wants to start, let's say Verdroy wants to start a new restaurant, you'll kind of help them out within the brand and so forth. Is there anyone that helps you out from the get-go? I mean, you must have had to get funding somewhere, investment-wise. What happened on your side?
Not really. Well, that's why. So if somebody was starting, I mean, there's different ways to start. I mean, some people maybe are fortunate and they maybe their father has money. Or
and for you, what was it? What happened for you?
No, me, like I grew up middle class. My parents were teachers. They gave me education, they gave me a house. I went to, and my parents are very smart. Like, they're well spoken, read, write. They know a lot about everything, but they weren't entrepreneurs. Like they were teachers, and their grandparents were like they grew up, like poor. Yeah. They were like peddlers, and my mom wanted me to be like a professional, like an accountant or a lawyer or a doctor or something like safe, and I kind of just worked every job possible growing up. Like I worked in warehouses, gyms, the hospital, in registration in the emergency room. I did basketball clinics. I worked I think I mentioned lifeguarding. I worked in schools. Like when I would be done each year at Concordia, like in March, April, with school and basketball, I would work in a school like substitute teaching, and I would just take on jobs, and warehouses. I just never worked in anything food or retail related, which is odd, right? But I was like open to business, so I did do.
But you were a hustler from the get-go.
Yeah, like I was just hustling. I think in my whole like growing up or whatever, like there was maybe one semester at Dawson where I didn't have I didn't work and I had less classes, and I barely passed school. Like I thought, I'm gonna kill it because I have so much time, and I perform worse. And every time, so I went to Concordia, they tell you, you're not allowed to take 5 classes as a student athlete. You got to take 4. And I had to have a meeting. I had to actually have a meeting with the counselor, the athletic counselor for all the sports, and I had to convince her and get permission from her to allow me to register for 5. And I said, I'm better when I'm busier. And I played basketball and I took 5 classes and I worked. And I always killed it, everything was fine. So it's like the busier I was and the more I have to do, the more you're kind of just alert and adrenaline. And then when I have less to do, and it makes you, I think, kick into like a lazier mode, and it's harder to just get going. But when you always have pressure.
So what's next then for you? Because now you're going into
the man without no plan,
Yeah, that's it.
But I don't know what's. I'm.
Pigeon is fairly recent. Last year.
Pigeon is new. Like Pigeon Espresso bar is the Espresso bar opened downtown, and I ended up creating my own brand too. So like we and our own products. So we sell our coffee. So there's a bunch of restaurants now, and people buy for their house. They buy the coffee.
Amazing tagline, by the way.
Thank you. The world's worst.
Yeah.
We do probably have the world's worst coffee.
And what's the value proposition for that? If you think of it from a customer's perspective, what are they getting out?
Well, I think people know that. Actually, you know what? I don't think they know right from reading it that we do have amazing coffee, and I think one of the best coffees. They probably don't know that. They probably just think like, oh, it's a cool place, and maybe it's just coffee's coffee, but they like the marketing. Oh, I gotta try it. But we really are like we like bring in our own coffee from Brazil, direct trade. It's roasted in Montreal by us with in a partnership, and everybody they're weighing all the shots. When we opened, I sent the 3 girls that were going to be working at Pigeon. I sent them to New York as part of the first business expense. They went to Stumptown, and we're the only ones in Quebec that are selling Stumptown coffee. And they got trained.
What makes Stumptown coffee so great?
Stumptown is huge. Stumptown is like there's this whole third wave of coffee.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No,
It's just different because I guess this third wave they're dealing direct with farms, and they're using fresh beans, and they're weighing the shots, and different than your traditional coffee, which is just you don't know if it's if the beans are fresh, where they're from. I mean, they might just write Ethiopia, but you don't know,
you don't
and they're just
where
buying
is it
the
actually
bulk,
from?
they're getting it could not be fresh, but they're roasting it dark. You're putting cream and sugar, so it takes away that burnt taste. So third wave has a lot of different elements where it's just, I guess, caring more and analyzing. I mean, they're treating it much more delicately and taking it more seriously. And Stumptown are the kings. I mean, they were sold for like a few $100 million to Pete's Coffee, and they were the innovators of this third wave. They're the biggest by far. If you saw their training facilities and their the roasters that they have there, and it's insane.
Yeah, definitely gotta look that up.
So I sent the 3 girls to New York. I mean, like we sent them there. They stayed in a hotel, and they spent two or 3 days training with Stumptown, and Stumptown was impressed that we even did that, and they knew that they won't just allow anyone to sell their coffee. They're like, who are you, whatever. So they partnered with us. They allowed us to carry it, and we charge a premium for it because you got to pay US dollars, import it. It's ridiculous. We charge 50 cents more per shot.
Okay.
And so we take our coffee very seriously. But what happened was, I was just thinking, I was going around, and all these roasters were just I found they were being a bit arrogant, and any roaster I talked to, I was trying to see whose beans I would get in Montreal, and whoever I talked to was telling me that everybody else is shit, and they're the worst in a way, right? That place is shit. That place, and I was like, kind of taking it a bit too seriously. Like I do have coffees I like and don't like, but ultimately, like, I could just enjoy a McDonald's coffee. It's okay. And I would tell people that when I was going to see them. They're like, no, never, shit. It's disgusting as shit. And everything is shit. I'm like, you're the only ones in Montreal making good coffee, and each one I went to was behaving like that. And it almost made me nervous, like, whoa, everybody's bad. How am I going to be okay?
Very stuck up kind of environment.
Yeah, a bit pompous.
Yeah.
And so it made me almost nervous for a bit, because I never did coffee, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? And then I just sort of had it just calmed me down. And sort of I said, what am I worried about? Like, I'm going to do my best to care about quality, like I always do, and it's quality and service and ambiance, and we're going to do the same thing. And I'm a customer, and I go to get my coffee at Starbucks, at McDonald's. I go to Cafe St. Henry. I go to the Third Wave place. I go to, I love going on St. Viator to, I don't know why I just forgot their name.
Olympico?
Yeah, Olympico.
Yeah.
I'm such a fan of them. I don't know why I forgot their name. Like
I like Sansevieune. You introduced me to that, man.
And there's just like whatever, you know. But there's places. It's also like wine. Like sometimes you don't like a coffee because maybe you don't like bitter, but someone likes bitter.
Exactly.
You know, or like it's too dark and you like light. I mean, so like it's taste. And then people do add cream and sugar. So honestly, people who add cream and sugar need to start a dark coffee to taste it. So I just said I don't have to worry about this. But I was daydreaming about the day that my barista was gonna say, John, by the way, this guy came in today, and then he was like, oh, by the way, you know, like your coffee's not bad, but so and so from so and so told me that you guys, like from one of the roasters, says you guys have like the worst coffee. And when I was daydreaming about that, I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's put that on the window. So if that happens, we could say, yeah, of course, it says it right there. We do have the worst.
That's amazing.
Like that's how it sort of came into my brain, of like, and then it made me like, you know what? That sign, of course, it's good marketing, but the sign gave me like my comfort of like, well, we're saying we're the worst, but the truth is we were making amazing coffee, and people come back. They love it.
No, we spoke about reviews. Everything I can see on the website.
Pigeon has been amazing.
Yeah,
and it's growing, and yeah.
And we usually try to leave our podcast on a light note, funny question. And for those who obviously they can't see, we're in, like you said, literally basement office. We got some magazine pictures. One magazine that says porn burger, hot buns.
Oh yeah,
I love
it's
it.
my cook. Got that.
And I want to ask you, what's your favorite burger? What is your burger that you say, well, this is it. This I can have this every day. I'm loving it. What's that burger?
Ooh, because you know what, I guess like, but here the most popular one is the Holy Soy. It's like a barbecue sauce, mayo,
Yeah.
caramelized onions, sautéed mushrooms.
Don't stop.
With Swiss cheese. So it's very comforting, and I'll have that and put pickles in it. So I would lean towards saying that's my favorite, but then once in a while, I like it. So much time goes by and I'm like, wait a second, it's so weird. How come I'm not ordering what I used to always order before I had a burger joint? So before I ever opened a burger spot, if I went anywhere, like let's say you walk into a Five Guys, they say, what do you want? So I didn't say barbecue mayo. I never put that. I always put ketchup, mustard, with pickled hot pepper. That's all I used to put. So I'm like, and cheese or no cheese, I would mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if I always dress like that, just ketchup, mustard, pickle, and hot pepper with cheese, I'm like, why am I never doing that? Like when I could just make my own. And then once in a while, like I come here and then I do that, and then I'm like, oh yeah, you know, like this is what like I always loved in a burger, you know. So and it's more simple, right? Like a classic. Yeah. So that's so it's hard to say which one's the favorite. Like I guess.
That's very cool. I mean, I've had a few of your burgers. The latest one was the one with the egg on it.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about before. That was probably that one. I felt I could literally take a nap after.
That was very hard to drive home after that one.
Yeah, that's hard. It's so good. But even actually, you know what? Onion rings, phenomenal. I really enjoyed the onion rings.
Yeah, beer battered onion rings.
Yeah, beer battered onion rings. I mean, fries. We can talk about fries. There's a lot of good places that fries.
Yeah.
But the beer battered onion rings is a little more rare to find.
Yeah.
From my
You
experience.
should try though our jerk fries next time.
Oh yeah.
We just because of this burger of the month now.
Okay.
That we have.
What is the burger of the month, by the way? We don't.
Right now, it's. I mean, what is the whole concept of it? Or?
No. What is the actual?
What is
burger?
the
The
actual?
burger of the month now is it's a jerk. It's called surf and jerk.
Okay.
Instead of like sometimes you see surf and turf
Yeah.
because of the meat and the fit. Us, it's just literally it's like 5 to 6 ounces of lobster meat, marinated in a jerk marinade. And there's we made a garlic butter to toast the buns, and we have a mango papaya salad that we put in it. It's incredible. And then we serve it with jerk fries. So it's a jerk seasoning. Like the lobster's in a jerk marinade, the fries are seasoned in a jerk seasoning. You know, like different spices, everything, and with mayo, dip it in. And it's incredible. So it's so good. The
And your
lobster.
mayo, is it hot mayo? Because I know I have the hot mayo.
We have spicy. No,
Yeah, it's
the
pretty
jerk.
good, that one.
The jerk fries are spicy enough, so
Okay.
it's a regular mayo, and it goes really well. But the fries were such a hit that they're going to be on the menu. So
Very cool.
full time. The lobster is it comes and goes, and it's also like you're not going to do that throughout the winter.
Yeah, you need
It's
seasonality.
the thing of the month, and
Yeah.
it's not just an item you carry and easily would. This didn't sell today. It's the fries, the seasoning is like something else, and the response to it has been incredible. Sometimes you do something new, and then here and there you ask somebody like, how is it? And they're like, oh, it's pretty good, or it's okay. This is like you don't even have to ask. People are like, wow, these jerk fries. It's been like one of the better responses.
So it's becoming a staple now.
Yeah, we're gonna have to add it.
So if you want to get in touch with you, John, or get in touch with the restaurant, how do they do so? How do they get in touch with you? Whether it's in investment purposes or just want to come to the restaurant.
I think, anybody could write to info@NotreBoeufDeGrâce.ca or to Jonathan@NotreBoeufDeGrâce.ca. They can go on our Facebook and write a message. I mean, like, I see everything, and we're good at getting back to people. So if anyone wanted to reach out, and especially if it was for like, we handle any problems or suggestions or any partnerships. But I mean, for investment, right away we'll call somebody up and speak to them if they want to open up a location for sure.
We hope you liked this week's episode, and if you'd like to reach out to us or just want to simply check out our previous episodes, visit our website, Montreal Marketeers, that's with 2e's.com. You can also download our weekly episodes wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Waiting for the bottle to come. I heard the Lord say, battle has just begun. I heard my daddy say, life isn't worth the fight. And we hear Miley say, everything will be alright. I'll tell you my life story. Sunday morning, but I play the jukebox pretty late the night before. I talk a good game about the way you need to live here, but I'll probably end up with a picket fence and a couple of kids. Now I'm telling my life story. Go ahead and cry, it'll feel so good, it'll feel so good, so good. Go ahead and cry, everything will be alright. At the end of the night, it'll be alright. Till my life